This is an updated story, make sure to watch the other video as well. You can find the link in the description. I want to thank everybody for letting me know how to find out about what's going on with my wife and my coworker who I think she's cheating on me with. It helped me especially since I couldn't go to family and friends because of the possible embarrassment. And it's getting worse, all the things I've been noticing. And it's definitely possible my coworker banged my wife. To bring people up to speed on this, my wife Gabby had to pick me up from work because my car needed new brakes. Waiting for me to get off work, Gabby met and became friends with a girl that worked in the front office named Breanna and a coworker who worked in shipping named Darrell. When I got off the floor, I had always saw them listening to rap music and talking. After being good friends with them, my wife would come to my job on her off day and hang with them around their lunch. However, a couple weeks ago, I got a call from an old coworker that devastated me. This guy that used to work with us named Darrell said Darrell might have gotten to my wife. He said he saw them talking privately and it looked like they were flirting. He said this would happen an hour before Darrell's lunch and it was very suspicious. What was worse was when he said that when he and Darrell would work overtime on Saturdays, Gabby would come to visit him. He said at first he wasn't going to say anything, but one Saturday he saw something that made him tell me after Darrell left. He said when he went to the shipping dock he heard Spanish music playing. He said looking in he saw my wife's dancing and twerking for Darrell. He said at first they were just playing around, but then they got sexual and aggressive. He said Gabby allowed him to grab him by her neck and lift her shirt up to see her butt. He said at first they were playing around, but he could tell that it was getting serious, especially how they looked at each other. At first I was making excuses for my wife, asking him if he was sure it was her. He shot that down by saying he was definitely sure it was her, especially since Gabby was Cuban, had tattoos on her arms and she always wore a ponytail. Darrell said after he saw that he left to go home. I just couldn't believe what he was telling me. Not only is it bad that my wife was twerking on Darrell, but this happened 8 or 9 months ago. So much time had passed by, and who knows what she was doing now for Darrell. I'm grateful Darrell told me about this, but I think he might be too late telling this information. I wish he would have been a man and told me at the time, but it looked like, thanks to him, Darrell definitely got to my wife. All because he didn't want to snitch on Darrell. When I got home, I asked Gabby about her friendship with Darrell. She said she talked to Darrell sometimes, but he don't really be around and she usually just talked to Breanna. I knew this was BS because sometimes I saw them myself. Thanks to Darrell, I see how this game of hers is being played. She was using her friendship with Breanna as an excuse to really see Darrell. After talking to Darrell and hearing Gabby lie about her and Darrell, I began snooping on my wife around the house. I can't get in her iPhone because she has a hard passcode, and she always on it gossiping with her mom and her sister every day. Instead I would eavesdrop on her conversations, and the ones she had late at night bothered me. She would go on the back porch and talk, and I would go out our side door listen to who she was talking to. After listening I could tell she was probably talking to Darrell. I would hear her say stop you are crazy or yes she had fun at a certain club in the suburban area of where we live. I even heard her say she can't go over there. I'm sure they're meant over his house, but just hearing one side I couldn't be all the way sure. When she came in I asked her who she was talking to and she say her sister, Breanna or somebody else. All the giggling and whispering told me it was total BS. It was then that I really must have been blind before Darrell called because I saw nothing but red flags afterwards. I never see her without her phone now, she don't talk to me and says she's busy, and when I wanted to sleep with her she found it hilarious and said she didn't want to do it with our kids in the house. When I asked when has that ever stopped us, Gabby would say just leave her alone, and I was crazy. She said besides she wasn't in the mood. All this stuff before Darrell called and after is not looking like my wife has been faithful. Why did I ever think all this was normal? Last Saturday I think I caused her to miss a chance to be with Darrell and she was pissed. After I got off work Gabby called me while I was driving home. She said she planned to go out again and that I had to cook for the kids. I immediately assumed she was trying to meet with Darrell and lied, saying I was going to run errands before coming home. She said she was already getting ready to leave and I said tell her sister to watch the kids, already knowing she couldn't. After trying to guilt me into forcing her to stay home, I told Gabby I'm allowed to go out and do things too and I may not be back till later. Gabby said whatever and she hung up on me. Later that night, She had an attitude with me, and when I said just 2 words she just blew up on me. She said I ruined her night, and I said I didn't care. I told her me needing to run errands was more important than her just hanging out. Gabby said I didn't say anything about running errands, and I told her she didn't say anything about going out. When I asked her who she was hanging out with, she said to just forget it. After getting out the shower, I noticed she was outside on the porch talking on her phone. Seeing as she looked irritated, I'm sure she was talking about me. However, a couple days ago took a turn for the worst. After I got off work, that night Gabby cooked dinner. She came in the bedroom where I was looking at some new Jordans on my phone and told me dinner was ready. When I came in the dining room, she was all dressed up getting ready to leave. I asked her where she was going. She said she was going out with some friends and that I had to watch the kids. I asked who she was going out with, and Gabby just said her friends again. I told her she can't just up and leave, and she told me to stop trying to control her. After that, she walked out the door with an attitude. I was super pissed because I knew what this was about. She was still mad about the Saturday where she couldn't see Darrell, and she was obviously sad about it since then. My wife didn't come back till about 2:30 in the morning. That whole night I was texting her, and her only reply was "please stop texting me." And I was pissed. When she finally came in, I was playing our son's PlayStation, and when I saw her, we started arguing. I asked her why she came home so late. She just said she was hanging out with her friends, and I wasn't trying to hear any of that. I told her I was supposed to be in bed, and here I was up waiting for her to come back home. She said I never did complain when she got in late in the past, and I said I was always with her, so that BS argument don't work. She cursed me out and said I was practically trying to control her, and I said that's bull. After a while, son came out to see what all yelling was about and asked what was wrong. After that, Gabby said she was arguing with me anymore and stormed into the bedroom. Seeing the video game on, my son asked can he play it, and I told him just for a little while, then he had to go back to sleep. After agreeing, he started playing on the game, and I wanted to continue to argue with Gabby. I wasn't going to let her gaslight me about being some kind of controlling husband. She was one coming in late. I always try to be the calm, but my suspicions got the better of me. Coming in at 2 a.m. was disrespectful, especially after how she left. After our argument, went into our bedroom to continue arguing about when she left. When I walked into the bedroom, I was going to argue, but then I had stopped mid-sentence at what I saw. When I walked in the room, my wife was getting undressed, and it looked like she was wearing a black string as underwear. I guess my wife thought I would still be with our son because she looked surprised when I walked in. My wife just stood there as she was wearing a piece of string, and I saw her for the thought she now was. After looking at me for a brief second, she shot me a look that said, "If you asked me, we're just gonna argue." After she grabbed her pajamas off the bed, she decided to go in the bathroom to change. I couldn't believe what I just saw, and I can't lie, it stopped me in my tracks and I was crushed. I decided I was going to be sleeping on the couch because it was going to be awkward after that. My brain couldn't function after seeing that. I never saw my wife wear a piece thongs or underwear like that. It was practically bare bottom and a black piece of string. To be fair, Gabby does have sexy underwear, but it's been forever since she wore them. When we go on vacation, she likes to wear sexy bikinis, but it would be for Instagram. Even with that being the case, the string she was wearing was more like something on WorldStar. At this point, I've seen my wife is definitely being super suspicious and secretive. When I came on here, I saw everybody saw I should record her doing or saying very incriminating shit, so I'm already acting on it. I ordered me a VAR device, and I plan on putting it in her car. I asked a friend of mine can I use his address for the delivery, and he said yes without any questions. I'll pick it up when he gets it in the mail. The last thing I need is for her to see the package and question me about what it is. I'm ready to blow this thing wide open, and I don't care what it costs. Thanks to Darrell, a lot of my suspicions are on the money. I'll try an update, but I should be able to if I stop being confrontational and act as normal as my emotions will let me be. Are you interested in more cheating stories? Click the videos which are showing right now.